Okay, we're going to get started. Welcome, everybody. So we'll have people do your name and then which hub you are real quick. I'll go first. And then if you can, call on someone if you can keep track. And if not, I'll try to keep track. I'm Gabrielle. I'm with the Windermere North Sandpoint Hub, and I'm going to call on Hugh to go next.
Hugh Kelso. I'm with Kirka Park Hub. And let's go to Ann Forrest.
Hi, Ann Forrest, Victory Heights Hub in Northeast Seattle. And I'm going to go to Jody.
I'm Jody, Ballard Commons Park Hub in Ballard.
Johnny Schmidt. I'm hub captain at High Point, West Seattle. And I will go to Erica.
Erica, I'm the hub captain for the Highland Park Improvement Center in the West Seattle sort of White Center area. And I will pick on Norma to go next.
Hi, I'm Norma Jenner, hub captain for Wedgwood in Northeast Seattle. And I'll call on Catherine.
Everybody, Catherine Keller from Homer Harris. I'll call.
This is Bill Fay with the Queen Anne Hub in the Queen Anne neighborhood. So let's go to Doug.
Hi, my name's Doug Mormon. I'm most closely affiliated with Holler Lake, but frankly, I'm not a hub captain. I'm not even on the hub team yet, but I'm learning about the process. So thanks for allowing me to come.
I'll go next. Cindy Barker. My hub is Morgan Junction, and I'll pick Rita and John.
Hi, we are just coming on to the idea of Seattle hubs, and we live in West Seattle. And I think it's the South Del Ridge. We're interested in helping out.
I am Dustin Schumann. I am in Broadway Hill and Capitol Park. And then Gabrielle, I'll turn it back to you to find who's left.
Hi, Ellen Stecker from Roosevelt Neighborhood Hub. Hi, everybody.
I'm here, yes. Broadview Lutheran Memorial Church, and we have a second location soon to be opening at, we used to be Grace Lutheran Church, but it's not open as a church anymore. So anyway.
Hi, I'm David Brown Bennett. I'm with the Lake City Hub. Susanna Cunningham can't join us tonight, so I'm the vice chair of the board, so I'm stepping in. This is the first time for me, so greetings to you all.
Great, welcome.
Thanks.
I'm Dana. I'm a co-captain at Madison Park, and I'm not sure that Jim has gone yet. Jim?
I have not. Around at Finney Hub.
Gina with Brayburn on Capitol Hill.
I'm Nancy at Peace Lutheran, West Seattle.
All right, great. Thanks, everybody. And very much big welcomes to all the new people. We're very happy to see you. Laura, why don't I toss to you? I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you all for having me. I'm Laura Jenkins. I'm a community engagement coordinator with the Seattle Department of Neighborhoods. I believe some of you are familiar with the Department of Neighborhoods because I've seen you around in different meeting spaces. But I'm going to take that opportunity tonight to talk a little bit more about my role, my team, and also our department and our website. And so I thought the easiest way to do that would be kind of like navigating through the website and showing you different aspects of that. So I'm just putting it in the chat in case you want to kind of follow along. I'll also be sharing my screen. But just a little bit more before we get into it. The Department of Neighborhoods has a variety of different programs, and we work to provide resources and opportunities to community members to build strong communities and improve their quality of life. And so we have the P-Patch Community Garden Program, a few different funding programs, and then a lot of outreach and engagement programming as well. So I'm going to start sharing my screen and we'll see. It's always I think this should work okay. Can I get a thumbs up if you're seeing it? Yes. Okay, great. Okay, great. So this is our main page. We've changed the navigation a few times over the past many years. So it looks a little different if you visited it before. But up here at the top, there's a few different titles, and they kind of break down into, are you able to see when I hover the different programs that are below? Okay. So just a few things that I'll call out here. We staff multiple different boards and commissions, including the Indigenous Advisory Council, Seattle Renters Commission, Community Involvement Commission, the Seattle Youth Commission, and the boards and commissions related to historic preservation as well. We have the People's Academy for Community Engagement, which has changed a little bit over the years, but it is really a civic engagement program that's now works with specific organizations to tailor civic engagement programming for their populations and what they're interested in most, whether it's talking with your elected officials or housing advocacy or things like that. And then I'm just going to highlight a few different things. We also have this tab, which I'll click on a little bit later, that has more information on community templates and tools, which could be useful if you're looking for some more information on how to engage with neighbors and aren't really sure where to start. I know a lot of you are very well versed in working with your neighborhood and community, but this is a tool, a lot of tools for people who may not have that experience. We also have the Community Liaison Program, which works with other departments at the city to do outreach and engagement in relation to specific projects. A lot of times it's in language, so they're the community liaisons are contracted employees with our department, and a lot of times they're multilingual or represent a specific community, like people experiencing homelessness or elders. And then they work with departments like Department of Transportation, if there's like a major roadway project or different projects like that, where they'll help advise on outreach and then also perform outreach to specific communities around Seattle. And then on here as well, I'll click on our community engagement coordinator page and just scroll down so you can see my team. Takes a little bit for everything to load, but currently there are 4 of us, and I'll scroll down. We have a little map here. These aren't like based on any districts or anything in Seattle. It's just kind of how we've split the city so that we're able to cover 4 sections of the city since there's 4 of us. And the area that I cover is here in Central Seattle. So if you're in any neighborhoods in that area, we're a resource. Our team is a resource, as you can kind of see on the screen. We can help connect people to other community organizations who are sharing like common interests or concerns, or if you're working on a particular project that another group is working on, I might be able to connect you so that you all aren't doing the work that's already been done by someone else. We also, if you have a question for the city but don't really know who to go to, you can definitely reach out to us and we can kind of help you navigate things. And then also, yeah, if you're just looking for some like brainstorming help in relation to different like community organizations to reach out to in your neighborhood or things like that, we're there as well. And then I'll just mention, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to preface with that. That's why Laura's here, is because so many of us are new to neighborhoods. And so she's taking you through the tools that we know Department of Neighborhoods has. So when she says reach out to us, she really means reach out to us if you have questions and you live in, you know, the central neighborhood and you're trying to figure out how to connect with people. So this is for us to expand our ability to do outreach.
Thank you, Cindy. And just to go through my other coworkers, just to highlight them, Lisa, who's listed here at the top, she works in West Seattle and South Park. So she's a good resource there. If you are wanting to contact her, she's out tomorrow, but I'm covering for her. So just so you know, if you reach out tomorrow, you probably won't hear from her until next week. And then Sunny Wynn is the North Seattle representative. And then to Alvin, who is Southeast. And so that's from basically Mount Baker all the way down to like Rainier View area. And this map actually we added since I had a conversation with Cindy and Anne suggested having that on there. So just want to give a shout out to Anne for that. And then let me go back up to the top and see if there's anything else. Okay, so I'll move over to community grants. So we have 2 main funding programs through our department. Sometimes we have one-off kind of funding that comes up, but for the most part, these are 2 citywide grant funding opportunities. One is Neighborhood Matching Fund, which has been a long time, multiple decades funding program. Currently, the fund is open there's two different levels for the program. One is up to $5,000, and that's called Small Sparks, and that's open. The application is open year round for that. And then the other is called the Community Partnership Fund, and there have been 2 application cycles per year for that one, and that's up to $50,000. And I believe there's another application. I think if I scroll down just a little bit. There's another application period coming up, July to September. One just ended earlier this month. And these funds are really for community projects that could be different events, workshops, art installations. It really is, if it's community-based, free to the public, that's really what it's there for. There is something that it has always been with this program is that there is a match component. So community organizations that receive funding through this program match part of their award with either volunteer hours, in-kind donations of supplies or whatever else, or cash donations. So just wanted to mention that as well. And then the other program, funding program that has come up more recently within the last couple of years is called the Food Equity Fund. So I just wanted to, I feel like with the hubs, probably neighborhood match fund is something that you'll be more likely to pursue. But I just did want to give a shout out to Food Equity Fund, which is invests funding in community-led work that provides food to communities around Seattle with a special focus on Black, Indigenous people of color.
Laura?
Yeah.
You're breaking up again, like you were at the beginning. Why don't you turn off your camera? I think it really is a bandwidth thing.
Okay, I will try that. I just moved, so I do not know the capabilities of my internet. I also see something in the chat, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Great. Does this sound a little bit better? Or still?
Night and day.
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
Much better.
Okay, great. Okay, cool. And I guess you don't really need to see my face during this part anyway. The P-Batch Community Garden Program, just wanted to highlight this because I think it was around 2017. Cindy, let me know if I'm wrong, but these were designated as emergency hub sites. And I know there's been different iterations of what exactly that means, but I did just want to highlight that the gardens throughout the city are staffed by our community garden coordinators, who are assigned to multiple different gardens around the city. And then we also have the historic preservation team, which is over the different landmark processes, and they help staff the different boards that make decisions around which sites are landmarked around the city. So I'm going to go over to community templates and tools so I can just show you a few of the things that are in there. We have some items that are more for like if someone's interested in starting a group. I think the piece that will be most interesting to you all are these tip sheets that are more around recruiting members, maintaining membership. And this is something in our conversations that Cindy and Ann and I had. Our department is looking at updating the accessibility of these documents. And so we may be making some updates to the actual content of them. But we're still kind of working out the logistics of that. But for now, these are a resource to go to if you're looking for advice in any of these areas. They're definitely not the end all be all for this kind of information, but it's a resource if you're looking for one there. And then we also have some of that funding. And then we have these already thinking about becoming a nonprofit. Neither of these sites are city affiliated, but something to think about. And then we do have the community hubs listed on this page as well. Okay, and then I'm going to scroll because I wanted to also show another, this tab may also be interesting if either you or people in your hub group are new to Seattle or looking for information like this. So this one is called, it's under About Seattle and is the Seattle Services Overview. And so there's more information in here about help for renters. If you're, the customer information guide is a really good one. if you're just looking for straight up like phone numbers for individual like departments, or this, it kind of helps because it's like very specific. I think even there's one for rats on here. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. And so rats, public health, Seattle, King County, there's a phone number on here. So this is a helpful page. Let me see, I'm not sure if I can navigate back to, okay, yeah, here we go. So that's a good resource. And then there's also free and discounted resources, which there's a whole page, which is linked down here, that's can help people figure out which programs they may be eligible for. And then some other tools and workshops and other community support as well. So just wanted to highlight those, and I'm going to move over now to talk a little bit about the calendars that are online. Any questions about our website or the department before I move over to talk about some of the city calendars that are up here? Okay, I'm not hearing anything, so I'm going to try, let me see if I can do this. So I wanted to just show this. Let me see if I can enter this into the chat actually, so you all can explore it. There we go. And is my audio still good?
Yes.
Okay.
And the
great.
reason we asked Laura to cover this is because every one of us could submit our events onto this calendar.
Yes, so there's this City of Seattle events page, which is like the main calendar. There's the submit events icon. And this includes a lot of the more like boards but also I guess this thing called Lizard Haven. I don't know what that is, but anyway, and so there's different restoration events, other kinds of things. Also, there's this other city calendars page that shows a lot of other kinds of calendars. One of them being our Department of Neighborhoods calendar, which is supposed to be for more like community oriented based type of events. We also include our programming on that calendar when we have different events that come up, or board commissioner board meetings that we help staff.
Laura, while you're there, can you click on the emergency management calendar?
So I'll click on this emergency management one. I actually did not look at this one before.
We're all curious, so.
Let's see if it loads. Oh yeah, so they do a lot of their disaster preparedness things on here, it looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, and let's see if you can, for this calendar, it doesn't look like you can submit an event to this one. But for other ones, I just kind of wanted to show, I'll click on one for Department of Neighborhoods. Let's see. So if we go to this one, this is one of our, this is with the Major Institutions and Schools program, which I actually didn't talk about very much, but they work with community who lives around like hospitals and schools to talk through major planning for those institutions. So I just wanted to show kind of the information that you could include, the types of information you can include. And I think what's helpful about this is if your particular group doesn't have a website, this is one that you could have the information on and be able to link to a page that has more information about a certain event. And there's actually, this is where you would get that link, is this permalink down here for some reason, not this actual one up from the URL bar. But and then the other thing I was going to mention is that's helpful about these calendars is if you're trying to figure out also like a date for a certain event or something, you can kind of see some of the other meetings and things that are happening that may conflict with what day you're planning or whatever else. So yeah, that's kind of the main stuff that I wanted to talk about. Was there any other calendars that you wanted to click on to kind of see what they were all about?
No, that was the main one. And every year when we do our exercise, I've always loaded the exercise onto that city calendar.
Oh, great. Any other questions?
I'm rather surprised that we can't add to the emergency calendar, and wondering why and if that could be changed, because it seems like a lot of the events we had are a natural fit for that calendar. Over.
Good radio practice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can definitely check in with the Office of Emergency Management on that, because I think they're probably the ones that own it. But I know our information technology department also helps us with that kind of thing. So I can check in with them and see if there's a reason why, or maybe it's just not linked on this page that we were on, and people would be able to add things to it.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a question? And
Just
while
gonna
people
say-
are, go ahead.
Sorry, Gabrielle. I was gonna say, when I find an answer to that, should I just follow up with Cindy and Ann, and then you'll share it with the group? Okay, thank you.
That works great. And I'd like to make a pitch for the Department of Neighborhoods newsletter that comes out either once a week or once every 2 weeks. Got good information on it. Sometimes it's very long and you have to click at the bottom to read all the rest of it. But yeah, an excellent resource for finding out about things that are going on in the city. There's just been a big push around playground updates. There was 4 or 5 of them listed today, and then newsletter that came out about planning for playground updates.
Yeah, so she put the link in there so that people can see it and subscribe to it.
Great, thanks. Any last questions?
I was going to say thank you, Gabrielle, for mentioning that. And also in that link, you're able to see the past newsletters too. So you can see that one that came out today if you weren't already subscribed. Yeah, I'll try to turn on my camera just to say bye. But I really appreciate you all bearing with my internet connectivity. And thank you again for your time. And I'll put my email and my phone number in the chat just so you have easy access. But like I said, feel free to reach out to our team if you have any questions. And it was great meeting all of you who I haven't met already. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks for joining us. Cindy, it looks like you are up next, talking with your new council members.
Yeah, sometimes I keep a running list of things to bring up at the HubCap meeting. So this is a little outdated, but we had new elections. We have new council members. They finally have gotten their committee assignments and are starting to work. The Hub folks usually watch who's in the Public Safety Committee. And we've in the past had good relationships with the chairs of the Public Safety Committee, because that when we do Hub in a Box grant requests, that's who we have to funnel it through. But in general, if you are involved in your community and you do any involvement in politics, you might want to set up an appointment with your new council member, because none of them that I can tell know anything about the hubs. I mean, we've had almost complete turnover. So just chat them up, make a thing saying, do you know about the hubs in our area? You know, it's just kind of a familiarization. No particular requests. Sometimes they like having people come in not requesting something from them. Bill?
Well, yeah, just a few things. Robert Kettle, who was on the Queen Anne Community Council, who moved up and took Andrew Lewis's place on the city council. And he's also the chairman of the Public Safety Committee. So I know him and he knows about hubs and stuff like that. At the same time, last Saturday, I was at a celebration for the taking off of Paula Mueller. And I was introduced to Sarah Nelson, and Paula introduced me as being a hub captain and everything else. And so I spoke briefly with her, and she had no idea what a hub was.
Right.
So, but she encouraged me to connect with her. So I will try to get back to her and at least give her a little introduction.
Okay. And Erica?
Yeah, this is a question about engagement and kind of coordinating. I'm not real good on what's the best practice for engaging with like your city council person, since there's going to be more than one hub in a given council person's district. It would seem like it wouldn't be super effective if we all separately try to introduce ourselves as to what the hubs are. They would be getting a lot of repeated information. Would it be better, or would it be that we should just go ahead? The more they hear, the more it'll be, they'll remember. Is that the thing?
In West Seattle, I kind of want to put an email out and say, let's pick one time. Our council member schedules office hours. And by the time I thought to go, hey, let's see, you know, if we can get a slot, he's booked completely. And, you know, there's a lot of crisis stuff going on. So I'm like, yeah, okay, in another month or two. By then, all us West Seattle folks will have a chance to sort of go, hey, you know, let's see if we can all go in together. But I will tell you, every time you see them at any event, that's, you should nail them and introduce yourself and say, I'm part of this. Because the more they hear it, the more they actually might remember it.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
So anyway, so just a general, if you see them, nail them.
Great, Cindy. That's a good reminder. Okay, we're moving on to the next item. I didn't see any questions. Post-retreat actions, both Cindy and Ann.
Coming out of the retreat, I have the white pages all around my room here. We had folks sign up to be on some specific working tasks. A lot of them were around outreach and engagement. So that was kind of the network level action, which was go get our hands around what's already existing in the city that would help us do outreach and engagement. So that's why Laura was on today. And then for the other teams, the drill team is starting to work. And Ann and I have sort of split up who is the person most likely to be able to help answer questions. Remember, we said we're not running the teams, but we can be your sort of fairy godmother to, help answer questions or get things pointed in the right direction for resources. So I've sent a couple of emails out saying, here is the full list, because we were waiting until late March for anybody to sign up for the teams who wasn't at the retreat. So this is the final list. So hopefully, if you're on these teams, the asterisks were, I know there was one team that said, we've picked our co-leaders. So I know Ann's out of town right now, Ann Bond, but you guys can start to meet and start to discuss and see if there's anything more you need from Department of Neighborhoods, for example. But there's others that have not really gotten together yet. I do not know about the Google Drive. I think you guys have been talking. And the other thing I heard was the Hub promotion team, they asked for a Discord channel. So Erica and I confirmed that channel is there, but I don't know that Linda and Gabrielle and Cheyenne are clued in that it exists. So you guys have to start working together as teams to move your particular projects forward. What else was I thinking of, Ann?
I think that's it. Yeah, all the groups are kind of up and running, just different levels of engagement and movement.
Yep. And I will
thank you everybody that's volunteered to be on a team.
Yes, thank you. And I will add on, while we're looking at this, there was one other team that we forgot to actually form, but I don't know that it has to be a whole team, but I am looking for a volunteer who wants to work on the action that was find a way to make our YouTube videos more accessible. Just how do you find, where we were talking to SDOT, because we may have done that and had guest speakers at 3 different times, some way to make them more searchable. So if anybody has any skills in that, please contact me. Okay, that's it. The other action that was taken by the Hub Network was to get with Sophia at the Office of Emergency Management and find out what their 2024 outreach plans are. So we have a meeting with Sophia on the 8th.
Cindy, I just saw a thing today on the Department of Neighborhoods newsletter where they mentioned something about the Seattle Youth Intern Program, something or other, and maybe captioning a bunch of YouTube videos would be a good job for a young person. So, and maybe not, I don't know what the program is, but it might be worth investigating something like that and see if it would be a good fit, because something they could do in their own time and watch the videos and pick out the right terms that will help them be searched.
Thank you.
It might actually be potentially even different than that. I have not used GPT, but I'm wondering if some of these AI things we can have them, you can actually have it auto generate keywords for YouTube videos.
Okay.
Just curious, that might be another option too.
I think Matt had a comment, but Matt's up next on the agenda. So why don't we roll to Matt, and Matt, you can start with your comment and then go on from there.
Yeah, the comment was just around like the YouTube searching. I know that Google is working on indexing videos using text to speech or speech to text. So they're transcribing the audio into text and then indexing that. I don't know if they're doing that for all videos or just very popular videos. But we could do something like the automatic transcription and searching.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Someone who knows how to do that. So cool. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, well, like we're recording this. I think we're recording a transcript, right?
We don't save the transcripts. We haven't.
Oh,
been.
okay. Okay. Saving that would probably be a good start. And then was my agenda item for the
Update on
website?
mail resolution and website migration. That's you.
Okay. Yeah, so for web migration, I'm kind of blocked because the backup solution that we had in place, the person who set it up, I'm not able to get in contact with. I think I have basically like a new platform that's set up for it to go to once that's ready. Costs are going to be less than we're paying now because it's pretty low demand. We're basically on a shared plan, so we're paying for an allotment, and we're only using a fraction of it. So moving to an on-demand billing will save us some cost, and it should give us more flexibility if we need to expand.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is things are moving, but it's still kind of behind the scenes and you're still working on it. So no major announcements at this point.
Yeah, there's really no major changes to note. Yeah.
Okay.
If there's any big changes, you probably wouldn't notice it anyway because I would be redirecting things, so you wouldn't see it. But I will let you know.
That's the website. So what about email?
Yeah, and then so email, I was going through Amazon Web Services. They initially denied the request for forwarding. I think that I didn't give enough detail in terms of spam protection. So they're looking for details on how many emails we send per day. We're very low in that regard, but I think they wanted to know more about how we prevent people who are not authorized to send to the list. And that control is built into MailChimp. So basically, I need to come up with a story for how we deny. So if somebody sends an email to hubcaps at seattlehubs.org that's not on the list, how we deal with that. So I'll submit that appeal and see if we can get that approved, because it's a pretty low volume, the amount of email we send. Like they're looking at companies that send tens of thousands or millions of emails a day, and we're sending 500 a week at the most. So we should be fine. It's just around spam controls.
Yeah. So Matt, do you think we're going to move email by April 15th?
April 15th. Is that a hosting cutoff deadline?
No, that's Cindy goes to Egypt, and I'm not going to forward emails after that. So
yeah, okay.
We need to know who I leave with the hands on the steering wheel, because I'm the only one who does email. So if we add or delete anyone, it ain't happening for a month.
Let's talk offline.
Everybody, I have a countdown on my phone. 18 days, 2 hours until I fly out. So
how long are you going to be gone for?
All right.
A month, a solid month.
Thank you, Matt. Call for video organizer. I think that's what you talked about, Cindy. So we're all set to move on from there. Upcoming citywide drill, and she's on it and ready to go.
Real quickly about the citywide drill. So I am working with a team of 5, and we are getting organized. So we are looking at dates. We sent out a survey, and I apologize for it not being clear enough. I ran it past the team to make sure it was clear, but because we were all thinking about this, we kind of inserted words that weren't there. So we really did want to know if your hub was able to stand up on those certain days, not whether or not you could participate by going somewhere else, but did you plan on your hub standing up? So the data is a little murky. We have chosen June 1st. That's a really good date for a lot of the hubs. And then we're still waffling between the 9th and the 15th. I think it's probably going to end up being the 9th. So we had contemplated doing 3 weekends this year, but in hindsight, that seems like a bit much. So June 1st and probably June 9th. So that is a Saturday and then a Sunday. The time is 1 to 3. We didn't want to choose different times on different days because that would be confusing to promote to the communities. It is going to be an earthquake scenario, big surprise. Matt used artificial intelligence and came up with a tentative title of Are You Rumble Ready? So something along those lines. We are focused on making matches. That's how we're going to determine if we are successful in this drill. And we're looking at matches made in the supply/gear area. So need diapers, have diapers. Did we make the matches that were available to be matched? Same thing in the volunteer area. Did we get the plumber and the person that needed a plumber? Did we get those two folks matched up? We're also going to focus on GMRS radio. So not ham radio, but GMRS radio, which is a little bit less powerful, a little bit more user friendly if you're not a super techie kind of person. So we're gonna concentrate on using GMRS radios to talk from hub to hub. Also to talk from the hub to volunteers that they send out. So this would mostly be the volunteer coordinator who would send 2 people out, because you never send folks solo. They send a team of people out to check on something, give them a radio and ask them to call back with what they found. So that's another way we want to test the GMRS radio system around the hub, the immediate hub. And then also we'd like to get folks, especially those that aren't comfortable with radio, to sit down with a GMRS radio and an earbud and listen to ham radio traffic and try writing it down as you hear it. And then getting that information to the information boards, the whiteboards, and post it up there. So that's, in general, that's kind of what we're concentrating on. Nothing earth-shattering, nothing, there's no zombies or vampires or anything else. It's pretty tame drill, but that's what we're looking at. We are going to host a series of drill prep meetings. We did this last year for the Power Down drill. The hubs that were involved got together. I think we met 4, maybe 5 times, almost on a weekly basis, kind of leading up to the drill, to help folks get ready, to talk over, okay, let's figure out what your blueprint might look like. Where are you going to set up your canopies? How are you going to recruit volunteers? Who's bringing the coffee? Let's talk about customizing scenarios. So just kind of prepping people to feel more prepared the day of the drill. It seemed like, especially for the newer hubs, it seemed like it was very well received and appreciated. So we are going to do these drill prep meetings again, and we would like to open it up to all the hubs. Especially if you're planning on doing your own drill later on in the summer, you might want to attend these sessions, or they're going to be recorded, so you don't have to be there if you don't want to. But you might want to listen in. It's just some tips on how to get ready, preparing your safety brief, what to do if you truly have an emergency, where, who's going to flag down the ambulances, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of it for the drill. We did, based on the dates that people could meet, this is June 1st. So we were really impressed with this smattering of hubs that said they could activate on June 1st. This looks like a really good pattern. There's lots of hubs available in all the sectors. June 9th looks good in some ways. June 15th also looks good in some ways. That's kind of why we're waffling between the 9th and the 15th. And some of it is I need to clarify that the true answers to this survey, because it was a little confusing about whether or not they were going to activate. So that's all I have on the drill. Does anybody have any questions?
This is Ellen. So I'm just clarifying that there are definitely 2 dates that this will be happening.
Yes.
And one is definitely the 1st.
June 1st, Saturday, June 1st. And then it's either going to be the 9th or the 15th. We are leaning towards the 9th.
Were you guys shooting for a Saturday and a Sunday, or?
Yes.
Okay. So the 15th is another Saturday.
Right. It was Saturday, Sunday, Saturday. That was another reason why the 9th is a little more attractive than the 15th, because otherwise it's 2 Saturdays. And for those of you that don't know, I have heard from the Jewish community that they're a little frustrated that we're always doing things on Saturdays. So offering something on a Sunday would be a nice concession, I guess.
Looks like the next item is the Hack-a-Thon on April 26th. Cindy, you can tell us about that?
Yeah, we Katie Itzerod, who did our camping hacks and has helped do the leadership survey, is a professor at North Carolina, or excuse me, Charlotte, North Carolina. Ooh. And she still is attached to the UW. They are doing what's called a hackathon. And it is around resilience in cities. And the hackathon is going to happen on June 26th. And the reason I tell you guys about it is because the hubs are submitting at least 2 projects. One of them is the one that's been near and dear to our heart of how to try to figure out how to provide recharging or electricity for people who are on life essential equipment during the disaster. You know, how can we hack solar systems or something like that? So it's a technical issue that the School of Engineering and the other people can work on. And so we've been asked to provide a couple of projects like that. And so we're working with one of our ex-hub captains who happens to be a solar junkie to sort of define what kind of equipment is it out there in the community that we know might need to be solar powered or, you know, alternate electricity provided, and how can we do that for sustained periods. So if you have any interest in just coming and watching students and professors and there's city departments and jurisdictions invited to this, and hacking your way through some disaster issues, it's listed on the back of the agenda for April 26th, 9 to 5. So I'm sorry, it's a working day, but it's a Friday. So maybe you can take the day off, and it'll be at the UW Tower. And I think we owe you the link to register, Anne, right? They're looking for interesting ideas. So if anybody's going, what is this? Call me or Anne, and we'll see what ideas you've got that we might want to put in. That was
ideas for anything related to after disasters.
Being more resilient in a disaster. The other one I heard that they're going to put in is another one we've talked about, which is around mobility and how can you unlock all the scooters and bicycles that are in the locked position. So how during a disaster do you unlock them so everybody can actually use them during a disaster.
Another one we submitted was Japan has figured out how to unlock all vending machines after an earthquake so that you don't have to break the glass to get the Twinkies that you're dying to get. So I don't think that's possible here, but we submitted that idea just in case they wanted to throw a little manpower at it.
All right, thank you both. That sounds really interesting, Cindy. I hope they're going to get some press coverage out of that because it sounds like it will make a really fun story.
Yeah.
We'll move on. Next item, Cindy or Ann, covering the lesser known tools as shown by survey.
In the survey, there was about 35 people who had responded, and we've noticed that there are several things that people said, I didn't know this tool existed. So I picked just a couple of the super low related ones that were all around outreach and PR to cover tonight. So it's going to be super fast. Business cards was a tool in there, but Ann and I have talked about fixing this. This was where you could, I'm not going to click on it because the format got messed up somewhere in the downloading, but it was where you could print business cards that had the, SeattleEmergencyHubs.org URL, but you could handwrite your name and your own phone number. But because people are adding their own website so fast, we're rethinking that. But the other one that was in here was the outreach suitcase.
Yes.
So the outreach suitcase lives at my house right now. Cheyenne Barron is going to have it while I'm gone, but it's got a lot of, just hardware for setting up an outreach table in the middle of the wind, but it also always comes stocked with hub maps to give away, brochures, the city backpacks in multiple languages, and Alert Seattle cards. So this is what it looks like. It's got a little tablecloth in case your table's really crappy. It's got the sign, it's got all the holding gear, the maps laminated. So it comes in a suitcase and you just roll it up and unload it and put out what you want. I also still have the Wheel of Disaster, although somebody might have that checked out right now. So you can get both of those from me anytime you have an outreach event and want to, just pick it up and go. It's kind of all the basics we have. So those were the two things I wanted to cover today that were outreach related. So you just call me, and Cheyenne's got it reserved for a day before I come back. That's why she's the keeper of it right now, but she could certainly arrange it to get it to someone.
Great. Any questions?
What a question on the business cards. You mentioned people want to add websites to it. What is that? Where does that add a complication to printing the business cards?
It kind of doesn't. It was just that the file got corrupted, and I wouldn't recommend. Oh, geez, come on.
No.
Where'd it go?
It's up higher, right there.
Yes.
Under, okay, and it's under PR and outreach.
Yeah, it's all under PR and outreach. So there's a front and a back, and when you go to the back, it's
like an Avery label template.
Yeah, see how it's kind of got messed up. So we need to fix that.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a template, so you could take it and do anything you wanted with it. So while I'm here, I might as well show you the other one that was.
It also isn't super expensive to get business cards. If we got 500 printed with blank backs, that would be another.
Right.
Could do that too. But it's nice to be able to do your own and put your own.
Well, there are a couple of the blank ones in that outreach suitcase, just in case, because sometimes I don't have a Post-it on me and I want to write my phone number for someone. I forgot this was the other one that people didn't know about, that Gabrielle had actually gotten. 1 year we got 5 public service announcements for radio stations. So if you click on that file, there's a what's in this file, and it tells you what each of these topics is. And it's like a 30-second or a 1 minute at the most little topic about what do you do if there's an earthquake at night. So if you are one of those communities that has a community radio station, feed this to them once a year and say, hey, it's October is earthquake month, can you play these? They could probably even, if people do podcasts, you could even use them, but that's all in the outreach folder.
Have we put those on C89? It's a big commercial powered FM station that's run by Seattle Public Schools.
You can tell we haven't if I'm going, what are you talking about?
So,
right?
Well, it covers the entire Puget Sound. It's a school run educational radio station, but they have
Is that the one at Nathan Hale?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was in that program there. And they do sponsorships. So it's not a commercial station. They don't do advertisements, but they'll do public service announcements and sponsorships with certain groups.
When I get with you, Matt, on the other stuff, I'll get that information from you and get it to the promotion committee.
Okay. I still have some contacts there.
And
Oh,
Cindy,
cool.
if those need to be re-recorded or updated, I'm sure I could get our radio people to do that. It just takes a little bit of time. So the people at Nathan Hale could do it too. So, and there are multiple low power FM radio stations in Seattle. There's Ballard, there's U District, there's Magnuson Park, West Seattle, Vashon. There's lots of them around. So if you know anybody, you can give them those. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Matt.
Okay. And they will record themselves doing them too. So that you can provide just text
script.
and they'll read it.
All right. And next item is borrow the network Zoom account, and that's Anne.
Yeah, so just wanted to remind folks that the network pays for a Zoom account, so you're not limited to the 40 minutes because it's a paid account. And anybody that wants to borrow it because you don't have your own paid account, you don't want to get cut off at 40 minutes, you're welcome to. Just contact either Cindy or I. We have just been giving out the code or the Zoom link, and nobody's been stepping on each other's toes because not many folks are using it. But I think we've gotten 2 people recently that have used it, and I think it's because they just recently heard about it at the retreat or maybe in the survey. So just FYI, we have a paid account. You're welcome to borrow.
Next item, bikes at skills fairs, and that's Gina.
So yeah, so the idea behind this is, we're trying to find, ways to get the bikes involved, and Max and Maxwell came up with this notion of just basically a bike table at skills fairs where they can, they talked about having like a wheel so they could show people like, here's how you fix a flat. But then also having like a one sheet with resources or ideas about stuff. I think the idea is just that, is the big earthquake and none of the cars are going to be able to get around. People should think, oh, I've got a bike, I can still do it. So just raise that awareness of if they get their bike in order, because a lot of people have bikes sitting around that have flat tires or whatever, and just kind of enabling them to, think about their bike and kind of get at least in running shape, even if they're not going to ride it all the time, so that they can then, and have like a pannier. So like, or here's how you can haul stuff on your bike, or here's how you can wing it. I don't really know exactly what their supplies would be. So they're willing to do this if we are willing to have them.
That's great. And we'll have to make sure that Anne and I, when we're talking to people about Skills Fair, add that to our list of potential tables so that we can get those set up and aligned. Jody?
I've participated at a lot of repair fairs in the city, and they generally have a bicycle repair station. And if we could get a 4-up or a 6-up or something that could be passed out at those repair stations, we could start recruiting people to be part of our bike teams, and also that way get out word about the hubs to more people who don't know about them.
What's a 4-up or a 6-up?
Well, that's when you cut a piece of paper into 4 pieces or 6 pieces, so you have a small flyer.
Okay, so promotions team, if you hear that request, think of that as one of the products that could come out of your group. And I see Dana's got her hand up.
Yeah, I was just curious, what bicycle organization is this, Gina, that is going to help with at skills fairs?
Cascade Bicycle Club.
It is Cascade. Okay, cool. Just
Yeah.
curious. Thanks.
And then on top of that, I ran into someone from the West Seattle Bike Connections, which is kind of like another subgroup over here in West Seattle, a week ago, and said, hey, do you guys want to be in exercises or drills? So Anne, if you guys have not thought about whether you're going to reach out to any of the bike folks for this, I told her I'd let her know as soon as I heard something.
Yeah, this has made me start thinking. Hopefully Matt and Jim are doing the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and they haven't ruled out, trying to put something together for our big event. Now that we have like tentative dates, I can pass those on to them, and that we'll see if that lights enough fire under them to say, okay, yeah, we do want to do something, sort of like they did before of, I forget what it's called, bike disaster
Relief trials.
Yeah. So we'll see if this gets them motivated enough to then try to meet with, to collaborate in some way with the hub drills like they did on mine previously. So
the next item is sharing best practices of hubs. And it looks like, anyone have anything they want to share that they've done recently that worked well, or they were thinking about that had worked well in the past?
I have a small one. The Skills Fair on Saturday in Pinehurst, so Northeast Seattle, we are adding another station, and it is the fire extinguisher simulation station. So it is basically a television that sits on the ground that has a digital fire going, and the neighbor, the person, holds a fire extinguisher that points a laser at the fire and puts it out. So there's no mess with it. It's all electronic. It's all battery operated. So we're gonna use that at the Skills Fair on Saturday. I've taken it to mostly kids events before. It's a very expensive piece of equipment. The city will not let it go to just anybody. I can get access to it because I'm background checked by the Office of Emergency Management. So it's a really useful skill. Kids love it. They really like doing it when they're successful. You know, there's lots of clapping and cheering. So it is very, I don't know, it's very nice. Anyway, so that's available. It's kind of along those lines of like CPR and stop the bleed and that kind of stuff. It's a very good skill to have. It is, like I said, it's somewhat limited because my understanding is you have to be a volunteer with the Office of Emergency Management to check it out. But just want to let you know it's available. That's it.
Is there something that goes with that at that same table that kind of shows you how to use the fire extinguisher besides kind of the aiming part? Is there another thing that goes with that, or do you have a handout on that? Or
we don't. It wouldn't be hard. In fact, I'll have time to make it up before Saturday. So you're teaching the instructor that's standing there should be teaching the people to do PASS, PASS, pull the pin, aim the nozzle, squeeze the fire extinguisher, and sweep, PASS. The other thing I thought about doing was talking to the fire department and seeing if they recommend fire blankets. It's a very different way of putting out a fire with much less mess. I'm a big fan from what I've seen, but I don't know if our Seattle Fire Department is on board with that. So that might be another thing to teach at that station, is just the fact that fire blankets exist. This is how you would use it. They're a little pricey, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you. Dana, I think you had something you wanted to share.
Oh, briefly, I just wanted to shout out to Cindy that we had a tabletop 301 drill, which was focused on radio, and it was so much fun. And I'm very excited to hopefully, if you can productize that so that other hubs can run it. I mean, I just think it was a blast. So I just really enjoyed it. We did a lot of mock drills, and I would say, and I gave some feedback at the time, but some of the stuff we did didn't even involve radios. We just pretended to communicate with radios, and that was the breakfast order, and that was super effective and very low tech. And it was just, I just had a great time. So I was excited about that.
Yeah, I am hoping to have that whole script captured so anybody could do that, because once you have the script to follow, it's easy to do.
Yeah, I mean, even if you just engaged your hub volunteers to have just a private event where you just sat around and pretended to call each other on fake radios, I just think it's it was really enjoyable.
Thanks, Dana. Anybody else have something they want to share? Yeah.
Hi. We gave our own Hub 101 last Sunday, and we kind of did it a little bit differently than the ones that we've seen or experienced in the past. Well, for one thing, I made some very funky cardboard 5 little stations that simulated like the different canopies. It looked like science fair, but okay, it was all right. But what we really did is we were very brief in our orientation to the jobs and the roles in the beginning for the first half, and we spent a good hour practicing. And my group was real enthusiastic, and they were really engaged because my hub really wanted it to be participatory. That was their main goal, and it seemed to work pretty well. So we had a good time. It was a good session.
Great. That sounds good. Thanks for sharing. Okay, I think that's a good place to kick us off to around the room announcements, Linda. So I got yours in. So why don't we do that? I will start with Northwest. And I will just say, I see we have a couple people who've come in that may not have introduced themselves at the beginning. If you want to introduce yourself when we get to your sector, feel free to jump in and give us your name and what group you're with. So anybody from the Northwest would like to make an announcement or something that's going on, something you're doing?
This is Jody. We are planning 3 or 4 tabletops. We've done our 2 skill fairs for a grant, so we're getting tabletops organized, and starting in April, we're going to have an event every month at the Ballard Library.
David?
Yeah, I'm off mute, I hope. Just to let you know that we, Anne and Susanna and I, at least on one occasion, I was able to meet with our new council member, Kathy Moore. and as was mentioned at the beginning, that was very useful, actually. She was quite interested and offered to help us, and specifically to put any information we wanted to convey in the newsletter. So I certainly recommend that for others to do, to relate about your hub and hubs in general. So I'm happy to join you. Thanks.
Thanks. Good idea to get them to put information about hubs in their newsletters, because those go out to a lot of people. Great. Anyone else from Northwest? Hugh, you've got your hand up?
Yeah, I just want to mention the effectiveness of having the skills fair things. A person that went to the Finney skills fair, I think I don't know if it was last month or how far back, ended up contacting me to give a presentation about what are hubs to a block watch group that she was organizing here in Crown Hill. So, great that this all ends up spreading the word. So, keep at it. And Cheryl Dyer joined me, and we went and gave them a presentation, and hopefully we can recruit some of those folks to get the Crown Hill hub going again. So.
Great. Pat?
Yeah, in Broadview, we've had regular drills at the Luther Memorial. That's our north location. And hopefully in June, we will have our second location as the location for the drill. And it's also on Greenwood Avenue North. No specific name. I call it Broadview South. We're having a little preliminary, not open to the public, meeting to set up our canopies, to figure out a blueprint of how to use this space, this parking lot, and so forth. But I was just going to put a request out. If anybody's bought canopies or tables that fit in the knack boxes in the last few months or year, and they're satisfied with the quality of them, if they could send me, some information on them, because I'm trying to get 4 canopies and 4 tables for each of the hub locations, rather than sharing stuff out of our box all the time. So,
At what size boxes do you have?
We have the big boxes. This
5 foot wide.
Yeah.
Okay. I can share what I've used, and I think the quality is pretty good.
Great, thanks.
The table, and I'll say this for everybody, the table that I've been encouraging folks to get, I think is really a good one. It's not an 8 foot table or a 6 foot table or whatever. It's a little bit smaller, but it rises to the level of bar height, which I think is really good for not forcing your volunteers to stoop over when they're writing. So I'm really happy with the tables that I've purchased. So I will send that along.
Great, thanks, Anne. And thanks, Cindy, for posting that brands that work for small hub boxes. That's good. Let's see, Northeast. I'll say I've been dragging my feet on setting up a meeting. I'm supposed to have one for the end of April. I haven't set it up yet, Anne, so it may be nagging about that a little bit. Trying to get some more volunteers recruited, and it'd be great if I could do that at the end of April and have some people for June. So.
Go ahead, Ellen.
I was just going to say that we're meeting, we're working on getting a tabletop exercise set up for our community, and we'll probably be attending a lot of people's hub drills this June. Looking forward to that.
And did I cut you off and you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, just kind of tagging on to what David had said about visiting the council member, District 5. So the way we did it, which we hadn't really planned on this, but I think it worked out really well, was we went in the first time and we told the council member generally about hubs, just introducing her to the idea of what a hub is, what it is not. And then the Lake City specific folks came in and said, let's tell you a little bit more about our hub. So that seemed to work really well. And if any of you don't know, Lake City's hub is quite different than the rest of ours. It is a much larger structure. It is a half of an ISO container, if that means anything. So that was one thing I wanted to say. The other thing is, I believe I'm going to talk to the new hub captain for Victory Heights, but I think the Victory Heights hub might activate in the June drill. And just FYI, my husband and I have decided to downsize. So we're selling our house, moving into a 2-bedroom apartment in West Seattle, but I will continue supporting the North Seattle hubs. So hopefully you won't see much of a difference, but I won't physically be up here as often. But still looking forward to supporting the North Seattle hubs. I adore you guys.
Well, we'll all bring you fire extinguishers and radio batteries for your housewarming.
I don't have room.
Emergency supply. All right, anyone else from Northeast that has something they'd like to share? Okay, then I think from there we go to Central West. Is that what we call it?
Yep.
Okay, Bill?
Yeah, not really much to announce other than Frank Gall and I are connecting with each other and talking about what we're going to try and accomplish in June. So we'll probably be setting up one hub between Magnolia, Interbay, and Queen Anne. But we'll go from there. We'll do it. That's all from Central West.
Great. Anybody else from that area? Okay, then I think we move to Central Core.
I will report for Steve at Belltown. He's starting to work on a second location in Belltown and doing some outreach. So just he's, getting his mind around, some of the projects that he can do, basically starting all over again to get outreach going in Belltown.
This is Miles, a late arrival with North Capitol Hill Hub. April is a month with a 5th Monday. So we'll have the 5th Monday night GMRS check-in, talk to your neighboring hubs on the repeater that your hubs would normally use in your sector. I'll be doing net control for Central West and repeater number 3. And also, if anybody else in Central East is interested, on the 21st, we're going to have a little sector drill doing GMRS and trying to run messages between our hubs. And you can reach out to me, Dana, or if you want more details, and Gina, I owe you some.
Rio, if I could jump in for Central East
sorry,
one more
yeah.
second. It's totally
Please
okay.
jump.
This is not specific to us, but I would be remiss as a Red Crosser to not focus on the sound the alarm events that we have this coming up in April. So for you folks that are doing any kind of skills alarms or anything, the Red Cross is still looking for homes to install free smoke detectors. That also includes houses for folks who are hard of hearing. So we actually have bed shakers and strobe lights that we can do, and all of this is free. So in the chat, I will drop the link for folks that can sign up in there, and we are happy to add them to the list.
And Dustin, is that the kind of thing it would be okay if I put it on Nextdoor, because I share that kind of information on Nextdoor in Northeast?
Yeah, it's straight through the Northwest chapter or the North-South region of Red Cross, so anybody can access it. Absolutely.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, Johnny over here at High Point, West Seattle. We're gonna have the annual Bee Festival coming up on the 18th of May, which I will be leaving town on the 17th of May, and Cindy will be getting back into town on the 19th of May. Unfortunately, my co-captain Cheyenne wasn't able to be here, but we wanted to extend the invitation for anyone to come out if they want to volunteer, sit at our table, or just come out to the Bee Festival. It's a pretty good event. A lot of vendors, a lot of people. And it should be a good day. Hopefully, no rain. as usual. But yeah, let us know. Cheyenne or I, reach out to me. I know Cindy's aware as well. So yeah, that's what's going on over here. We'll just have an outreach table and trying to drum up interest and info.
Can you
Could you
give a quick,
repeat
what is
the-
the Bee Festival?
Sorry.
The
Go
Bee
ahead, Jan.
Festival?
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, so there's a little beehive thing that we have over here. It's here in High Point in the kind of in the common area. And there's that's kind of a central part of it, but they also bring in people from the surrounding community and vendors. It's just kind of a time they have like events for the kids and stuff like that. And a few little other things. I've been there every year, so I should be better prepared, but I'm always answering, hub related questions and doing outreach and talking to people. So I don't get to participate a lot necessarily with the Bee Festival, but there's a lot going on and it's all day. So it's a good time. People do come from all over Seattle. That is the biggest challenge when we're out there, is me trying to get people who are actually in the High Point community, because so many people come from outside. But yeah, it's out there. Come on by. It's a time.
They have a bee run where the runners are dressed up as bees to commemorate the big bee. It's not a little beehive. It's a big bee building, and they do bee education. So I'll go next, and then Nancy, I see you're on. They've had 2 hub building events recently, so I'll let her talk to those. But at my hub in Morgan Junction, we've been working with the Gatewood Elementary on the reunification. So we have a meeting next week to find neighbors who want to be the liaison with the school should an earthquake happen during school hours, and so that they can work between the school and the hub for whatever students who are trapped at the school and their parents haven't shown up, what they can do to help assist those students without having strangers show up in the school and not be known. So I'll let you guys all know how that's working out.
We did like a tabletop exercise at the Peace Lutheran Hub. There were 2 groups doing the same exercise. Boy, we learned a lot from each other. We all kind of hear different things and interpret different things. So that was really educational. And Cindy led that, and we had a great time. So thank you, Cindy.
Yeah. Oh, they're always fun. So. And Rita and John, who just are starting at the Salvation Army Hub, they were there. So we're training, the hub captains are all training each other here in West Seattle. So I don't think that Erica said she had to drop off, and her building is still in burnt limbo. So we're still waiting for that to get re-established.
Anybody else from Southeast, or anybody else that has something that they want to share that they forgot about? Everybody wish Cindy a good trip.
I'm so excited.
Happy Egypt.
Yep.
I want to see a picture of you on a camel.